Is your cable company upgrading, or is Switch Video just making your channels disappear? Universal remote controls, we got the new ones from Logitech, and of course the Blu-ray releases for the week of December 15th. Ooh, and a collection of Brad Pitt movies. Is that man pretty in Blu-ray? This is HD Nation.
HD Nation.
Today's episode is brought to you by Squarespace, Netflix, and GoDaddy.com.
Welcome to HD Nation. I'm Robert Herron.
And I'm Patrick Norton. HD Nation is your guide to the best in HD content and the best in home theater gear, no matter what your budget is. Blu-ray, online, satellite, cable, over the air. If it's in HD, we like it. Let's get a little HD news out. Not too much going on, but Boxy fans, if you haven't seen it, it's free software, downloadable, started on the Apple TV, is now available, of course, on all the Macintoshes and Windows boxes most recently. Well, D-Link is preparing a dedicated Boxy box for release. It's basically, well, look at the shape of this thing on your screen. It's a peculiar shape, obviously a set-top box, not stackable unless it's going to be on top, about the size of a 12-ounce soda can, and of course designed around the Boxy media playback and social networking software. No prices as of yet, but this would be a nice way to get the software without having to tie up your Apple TV or any other home theater boxes you might have around. In other news, motion blur is a big fat lie, or so says a Crunch Gear blog article about an extreme tech article from Dr. Raymond Sonera. Well, motion blur, I thought that was sort of a feature of LCD flat panels.
I think it is. I think it's just something you kind of have to live with. But Ray Sonera is a respected television engineer who's been doing lots of testing and analysis of displays for decades.
First of all, Dr. Ray Sonera.
Dr. Ray Sonera, president and founder of DisplayMate technology. If you've ever used the DisplayMate app for testing your displays, that's his software. Anyway, just a couple of things about this article I wanted to point out is, one, all of the TVs that Ray tested in this shootout, which was set up for months and people could come in and take a look at it, it wasn't just him doing this by himself. All of these TVs were pretty old, about 2 to 3 years old, and all are long out of production. A couple of the models included like the very first 120 hertz models from certain companies. Others included the first LED backlit. Very, very early technology.
So the whole point of Dr. Sonera's article is that you don't need 120 hertz, you don't need 240 hertz, because motion blur doesn't really exist.
No, curiously enough, he has a suite of test patterns built into the latest versions of DisplayMate that clearly illustrate that LCDs do blur imagery. However, depending on the type of video you're looking at, you could have differences in terms of how much blur is actually perceived. So it's kind of neat. The other thing Ray didn't include was comparing 24p material, film-based material, say from Blu-ray movies or DVDs. Also using the TVs, the latest TVs have frame interpolation versus frame repeat. That's where if you turn on frame interpolation, it creates that smoothing effect that drives some people crazy. Or frame repeat that maintains the original cadence of the video itself. So film kind of looks like film instead of a camcorder shot. Now, one thing I did like was Ray's commentary about LCD pixel response times. He says, overall, it's an easily manipulated spec that should be absolutely ignored, and I fully agree with that. And he also seems to be saying, basically, number one, that all LCDs do exhibit motion blur. Two, you should ignore those response time claims when making comparisons between different TVs. They can be fudged, like contrast ratios can be. And motion blur is harder to quantify in real-world video than it is to, say, using test patterns. In particular, we love to use, when I do video analysis of these displays and their ability to, how much the image smears or not, it's great if you can just put a still frame image and then just slide that still frame image around, rather than having full motion video. In full motion video, he's claiming that it's more difficult to see. And I would like it to be revisited. I'd love to revisit. I can't wait till he does this year's shootout, and we can hook up some newer models, some TVs with film-based material, and then I'd like to get his take too on the whole interpolation versus frame repeat modes as well.
Maybe we can get him on as a guest.
I think it's a good article everyone should read though. Do check it out.
We got links to that in the show notes. We should talk a moment about what we're watching, because we love to talk about what we're watching.
Always.
What's on your screen?
Well, the new episode of Pawn Stars has started, and that's just a show I had to just...
The new season.
The new season, actually. So I have that on my TiVo recording. I think I have the first couple episodes already done. History Channel HD actually has yet another show I'm watching in HD. It's called How the Earth Was Made. I think this is just a one-off show, but it basically combines CG graphics, beautiful CG work, and basically all the information we know up to this point about how the Earth was formed. Yay! Mega Disasters, I think that's on, I want to say Discovery maybe, but basically it's a show about horrific disasters in beautiful HD, and I'm catching all the reruns with that. I'm in rerun mode right now. I also did catch the latest episode of Stargate Universe. I have to say the last episode was hardcore, and if it keeps up, I might just put this permanently in the old season pass list. And Build It Bigger and Discovery's HD Theater. That's just a good show overall. That's the thing. A lot of these shows I've seen them all, the episodes, but I end up going back and watching a few of them just because I have way too much storage on my DVR.
Makes him happy. I've been watching a lot of movies in HD in the last week. The Day the Earth Stood Still, glad that was on cable and I didn't pay for it. Public Enemy's on Blu-ray. I gotta say, the costumes and the set dressings are spectacular. The way they hacked around the history of John Dillinger, Pretty Boy Floyd, and Pretty Boy Floyd's capture, and Melvin Purvis, the FBI special agent that is most associated with the Public Enemy's period of the FBI, not so cool. Falcon and the Snowman, still depressing in HD. And I gotta say, it is immensely frustrating to see something that was obviously shot in HD in a letterbox, pillared, overly compressed cable channel, or in my case, DirecTV channel. Top Sniper on the military channel. I mean, you look at it, it's just frustrating because it was obviously shot in HD because it's letterboxed.
Or they at least shot it in widescreen. Probably pretty high quality.
Yeah, and the military channel is in standard def, so it was just, you know, you get the little tiny box in the middle of your screen. If you see that, that's what's going on. It's a high def program on a standard def channel. And this also has me wondering, when are we going to see the BBC America in HD somewhere outside of Manhattan? I want it to show up on at least one of the cable, or I should say one of the satellite services, since I don't think I'm ready to go to cable in my area yet.
I hear you.
BBC America, where are you?
Come to us in
All
HD.
Right. We're going to come up with the top 5 Brad Pitt movies on Blu-ray, along with the releases of the week. But first, let's take a moment to thank one of our sponsors, Squarespace. You can now manage your entire Squarespace website on the go with the new Squarespace iPhone application. Post and edit entries, manage content, save drafts, preview your updates, and more, all directly from your iPhone. Snap a photo with your phone, you can upload it directly to your Squarespace site instantaneously. Want to check in your view counts? The iPhone app has all the stats available. Unique visits, page views, popular search terms, RSS subscribers, and top referrers are all right there under the stats tab. So even if you're not at your desk, you can keep your website up to date. You just need your iPhone. If you're just starting out with Squarespace, be sure to use the code HDNation when you check out. You'll get 10% off for the lifetime of your order. Check it out at squarespace.com. Please support HD Nation by supporting our sponsors. The impending release of Inglourious Basterds has us thinking about the glory that is Brad Pitt on Blu-ray, because he is so pretty. So our top 5 list today is the top 5 Brad Pitt movies to watch on Blu-ray. First up, Inglourious Basterds. Brad Pitt, leader of the Bastards, as the prettiest character actor in America since Burn After Reading. He is a peculiar lad in this movie, and this is a benchmark quality Blu-ray. It is gorgeous, I've been told by the people that have seen it. Fight Club, Brad Pitt with bruises, and the new transfer reveals a ton of detail you probably have never seen, maybe not even in the movie. Look for the dust following the huge ball in Operation Latte Thunder. A river runs through it, Brad Pitt fishing and getting drunk. Snatch, Brad Pitt with tattoos. Ocean's 11 looks amazing. This is a benchmark quality Blu-ray for showing off your system. Plus, you get the George Clooney bonus. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you get the Angelina Jolie bonus. Not a bad looking disc, not the best looking transfer we've seen. The assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Brad Pitt getting shot. If you're a student of HD video, read Kenneth S. Brown's review of this movie at highdefdigest.com and get the laundry list of technical issues in the movie transfer. Too much edge enhancement, lots of compression issues. And why is this on a 25 gigabyte disc? That's where the compression issues are coming from, and color issues. This is a really informative review. You should check it out. Other Brad Pitt movies on Blu-ray include Ocean's 13, True Romance, The Devil's Own, 7, 12 Monkeys, Spy Game, Interview with the Vampire, Troy, the unbelievably long and tawdry Ocean's 12, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and 7 Years in Tibet.
That's a whole lot of Brad Pitt.
Hey, I did it for my wife and for Serafina.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, it's time for the Blu-ray releases for the week of December 15th, 2009. If you're a fan of Mel Brooks, this is the day you've been waiting for. You can now buy the Mel Brooks collection, which includes 9 of his movies like Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs, Young Frankenstein.
That's Frankenstein!
Frankenstein! Oh,
sorry.
Please. Robin Hood, Men in Tights, and more. Each with their own disc and enough extras and special features to keep you laughing through the new year. Now, it has an MSRP of $139.99. Amazon's actually offering it for $92.99. Sweet! That's a serious discount. Really nice.
That's a good deal.
Also, get ready to kick some Nazi butt, or at least watch Brad Pitt do it for you. Inglourious Basterds from the genius mind of Quentin Tarantino is now available on Blu-ray. That's on my short list for Netflix. To balance things out, we have something for the kids. You can now pick up G-Force on Blu-ray.
Hamsters in high def.
What is that?
I don't know if my wife's going to allow that in the house.
The kid might like it.
That's what I'm afraid of.
And to round out the list of releases, we also have The Hangover, Newton Friends, The Other Man, Star Trek The Original Series, Season 3. I had no idea there was a Season 3. And Taking Woodstock.
Coming up next, we're going to talk about, well, Logitech's latest universal remotes. Later on, we've got a couple of viewer questions for you. Right now, though, let's take a moment to thank one of our sponsors, Netflix. If you're looking for a place to find a great selection of Blu-ray discs, look no further than our next sponsor, Netflix. With Netflix, you can rent over 90,000 titles online, including a ton of Blu-ray titles, with free shipping both to and from your home. They now have over 40 shipping centers in the U.S., so almost all deliveries happen in a single business day. Plans start at under $5, and as a new member, you can score a no-risk 2-week free trial membership at www.netflix.com/HDNation. And please remember to type the www when you're using this code. The problem with having a good home theater is the remote controls. There's usually like 7 of them, right? You got one for the HDTV, you've got one for the sound system, you've got one for, say, your DirecTV or cable box, maybe you've got another one for your Apple TV or your, set-top box, whatever it is. And trying to control all of those is a wretched pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass, right? You pick up this remote, then you pick up this remote, then you go back to this remote, and what if you need to go to that remote? And if you have a 2-year-old, they get stuffed in every corner of the house. So this is the idea behind a universal remote. Not just that it'll be like, it controls the volume on the television and controls play and fast forward on the DVR. What's interesting about the universal remotes, especially like the Logitech Harmony remotes, they are everywhere, is the idea that they set up, in the case of the Harmony remotes, they call them activities. They're sequences. You hit a button and it does a whole bunch of things. For example, if I hit watch a DVD, it turns on the television if it's not on. Then it turns on my DVD player and it allows me to get my movie on. This is nice. This is a Harmony 880. It's under $100 at Costco. It's basically a closeout. It's an older model that Logitech Harmony does not make anymore. Like all of the other Logitech Harmony remotes, it is programmed by a computer, Mac or PC. I think it works better on a PC, although the Mac software is out there. And it connects to your computer by a USB port. Essentially, you go in and you choose the devices you have. Then you choose activities. And there's a fairly limited set of activities. The idea behind Logitech's Harmony or Logitech Harmony's system is that they're going to make it simple. It is a noob-friendly concept.
I really like it in the sense of the setup of these devices. You literally enter the model numbers and names of all your products.
Right.
And then it says, okay, what input did you plug this into on which, like the TV or the AV receiver or whatever?
Do I need HDMI 1?
And once that's all done, it shouldn't require any further programming. It dumps all that information to the remote, and you can hand that to pretty much anyone in the house, and it says, oh, I want to play a game. I want to watch a movie.
Right.
And that activity-based thing, I think, is really the big selling point.
I would have to agree. And I just hit a button on this and things started happening in our
wildly
studio.
Turning on and off products around the room.
Sorry, everybody. The thing, though, is there's 2 kind of places where it can get really not happy. One is if you are like me in a previous life and have a very obscure brand of television and have to manually program. You can manually learn IR codes or find a compatible, like a television from another company that uses the same codes. You find those usually by searching out on the internet. So as you pointed out, they have a ridiculous array of items available on this.
I believe over 250,000 different components have been entered in the database. So it's very unlikely you're going to have a product that's not covered in the setup of a Harmony remote. And it's also a great place just to go to see if a new product that you've been thinking about or has been announced is actually coming soon. They end up putting those codes into the database long before the products are released, which is kind of a, kind of a sneaky way to do some product research.
It is a sneaky way to do product research. This is the current top-of-the-line Harmony remotes, the Harmony 900, and they also do a tablet-style remote, but I actually prefer the wand-style remotes. Selling for $290 to $400, depending on where you're shopping. It is all about the RF system, or the RF module. That is for controlling stuff behind cabinets. It's a secondary box. It's plugged over by your stuff. There's a couple of IR blasters that you can connect into it. This is not capable of controlling RF devices. So it's also not capable of controlling a PS3 either. PS3s are Bluetooth. If you don't know that, just search for Bluetooth PS3. You'll find a lot of information on their universal remote. There's basically adapters you need for that. I found this a little frustrating because my RF compatible DirecTV DVR had to be in IR mode to work with this.
That's annoying.
So it's not an RF controller. It controls a remote RF unit. I also have to ask Logitech, what is going on with your programming on the 900? Instead of just updating the programming from your older remote, you actually have to completely set it up from scratch with a new account. That I found immensely annoying.
Or just a new
I want to say a new account.
Okay, that's frustrating.
I ended up entering a second email address to program the 900 because I couldn't actually just automatically, because in the past, usually you buy a new Harmony remote and you hit a button and it squirts all the information.
Transfer settings.
Yeah, from your old system. And look, well, Mini, and this is, I mentioned this is a newbie-friendly system, and most people are pretty satisfied with it, but I got to quote David Carnoy's review of the 900 from CNET.com, because he was crucified by viewers that really miss sequences. So his line is that the Logitech Harmony 900 does not support the programming of customized multi-step macro commands beyond those of the automatic activity-based menu system. This is a pretty expensive remote. $400 doesn't put it in the custom installed remote system, but it actually starts to approach it. Macros, or what Logitech calls sequences, are for when you need to do custom things like turn the lights up when you hit mute, or dim lights to a preset level when you launch a DVD, or create custom settings for a particular device.
Yeah, you're not going to have like the customization available with a pretty advanced remote control system like what Crestron makes and other companies, where if you want to have the curtains closed and the lights dim and everything you could think of controlled with one device, that might not be what you're looking for in a product like this. This is really just for getting your components to work together and to make it easy to use.
A lot of people complain that this was kind of a step back from the 890 because it didn't have the ability to do those sequences or macros. Look, the only reason to go with the 900 over the Harmony One is because it adds in that remote RF box. This is a sharper version of the same screen that's in the Harmony One. Actually, I got to say, there's also, if you really miss having the red, green, yellow, and blue buttons, like that are on my DirecTV or on a lot of Blu-ray controllers, that would be another reason to upgrade to this. But this basically takes the Harmony One features and adds an RF device to it.
Color screen?
Color screen. They're both color screens, actually. Almost all of the ones. I haven't seen a black and white screen from Logitech in a long time anywhere in the stores. If you're thinking that like $200 is still way too much for a remote controller and the Harmony One's not your speed, you might want to consider the Harmony 700. It's selling for $127 to $150. It's the current entry-level remote from Logitech. Basically offers almost all of the Harmony One features, minus the touchscreen, minus the charging cradle, and you can control 6 devices maximum. So
very cool. How many of the infrared RF converters did they include? Do they give you any?
2. They give you 2 blasters. 2 blasters are in the box.
For 2 devices?
For 2 devices.
I'm a big fan of RF.
It's not so much for 2 devices, but so if you have multiple shelves, so you can set it up so that one's above the top shelf and one's on the, because IR blasters, they puke IR as far as possible.
A fire hose of light.
So if your cabinet is like, so that the wall of your cabinet, the door closes and the wall of the cabinet blocks the top to the bottom, you would put one IR blaster on the top and one IR blaster on the bottom.
Really nice. RF, if you've never used an RF remote control before, the beauty of it really is that you never have to take your hand out from underneath the covers and point it at something. You can just, that's my take on it anyway.
Or if your toddler doesn't understand pointing the remote at the screen yet, they can hit the pause button on the
Untraining yourself. If you're used to pointing stuff at screens and then suddenly you don't have to, it takes you a little while to get over that. So.
Before anybody emails in about universal remote control, their universal remote controls, do us a favor, let us know which ones you're curious about. We'll try to get them in for a review. I just think that the Logitech Harmony remotes are pretty much the standard for most people these days. If you think I am horribly, horribly remiss in thinking that, we'd love to hear from you. hdnation@revision3.com is the email address to send your thoughts to. After the break, Mr. Heron's going to solve the riddle of the missing digital TV channels. But first, let's take a moment to thank one of the sponsors that makes HD Nation possible.
Get reliable, secure web hosting without the long-term contract. GoDaddy's hosting plans are bigger and better than ever with 99% uptime, free 24/7 support, and no annual commitment. GoDaddy.com makes it easy to customize your own virtual dedicated server. Choose from one of 3 popular plans, or select your own Linux or Windows server with all the plan options you need. Plus, use the code HDN8 to get 10% off any order. Some restrictions apply. See the site for details. And be sure to check out revision3.com/GoDaddy for all the HD Nation GoDaddy deals and codes. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com. In these tough economic times, we all want to save a buck or two. You know what that means? It's time for our Recession selection. This week's selection, DVD trade-ins. Now, a while back, Warner Brothers started up an HD DVD trade-in program called RedToBlue.com, where users could trade in their old Warner Brothers HD DVDs for Blu-ray versions at a super cheap price. Well, now they've expanded it a bit, and now you can trade in your Warner Brothers DVDs for Blu-rays. Just head over to DVDtoBlue.com and get started. Select your desired titles and click Checkout. Prices vary between $8 and $10 each, and you're limited to 25 discs per order. It's not bad. Then just send in your DVDs, just the discs. You can keep the cases if you like, and they'll send you your Blu-rays shortly. Now, if you're not heavy into Warner Brothers flicks, Disney has a similar upgrade program at DisneyUpgradeToBlue.com. Just select your desired titles. Each title is $8, not bad. Send in your info, print out your order slip, then send that in with the UPC code or proof of purchase for each disc you own. You can then keep the disc itself, and they'll email you a coupon for your Blu-ray, which you can then redeem at any store near you. So, before you buy a shiny new Blu-ray copy of your current DVD movies, do check out the Warner Brothers and Disney trade-in programs and see how much you can save.
Nice. Hey, we got a question that piqued our interest, specifically because we've heard of similar stories from other people. Jerry wrote in complaining, a few weeks back, I realized that some of the HD channels I had programmed to record on my TiVo stopped working. Upon contacting Cox Tech Support, I was advised that I now had to install a tuning adapter to restore the missing channels. Could you please bring your viewers up to speed on the technology behind these adapters and why they are needed? Jerry, love this question.
Yep. Welcome to the new world of switched digital video, or SDV for short. And your letter is timely, as I'm wondering when I'll be seeing a similar upgrade with my Comcast cable service here in California. Yeah. Now, switched digital video requires two-way communication between your TiVo and the cable company. And since TiVo has yet to announce a true two-way compatible DVR or an SDV compatible DVR, they're using tuner adapter hardware as the current fix. Now, the SDV adapter should be provided free of charge from your cable provider.
Generally, these are actually a good thing because they're designed to reduce the amount of bandwidth being used by your cable box.
Totally. This allows the cable provider to then say, you know what, if we're offering, just hypothetically, 2,000 channels of TV, right. We know that all of our viewers aren't watching all 2,000 channels at once. How about they just tell us what channels they're currently watching, and we'll make sure those are in the pipeline. And then we can take that extra bandwidth, improve video quality, very unlikely, or we can just simply save cost, which is really what they want to do. Right. So the good news is that the TiVo is already set up. The TiVo, I'm thinking of the HD TiVos in particular, your TiVo HDs, your TiVo HD XLs, even the older Series 3s that are no longer being manufactured. You basically get that box, you connect it, it basically acts as a pass-through for your cable. The RF cable goes into the tuning adapter box, out to the TiVo, and then also a USB cable connects the tuning adapter to the TiVo as well, and that's really what the TiVo is using to control the box. Mm-hmm. It should all work just fine. Now, in the case of Jerry, he had a problem where they didn't announce they were going to be doing this. He just started knowing. You know, his channels were going away. He then made his first call to his cable company. They told him, oh, your cable cards aren't compatible with this new system. It became kind of a mishmash, and it turns out he didn't need to swap out the cable cards. Those were fine. He just needed to get the new box. And it took him about a half a day to get this all straightened out. And when it was done, he got a letter the following day saying, hey, guess what? You're about to receive a tuning adapter because you're a TiVo subscriber. It would have saved him a lot of hassle had he known about this ahead of time, and then it would have, you know, that's the main problem. So if you're thinking about getting a TiVo, you should keep in mind a couple of things. One, check with your friends to see if they have current offers, especially in the holiday season here, that they may be able to save you some money on a new TiVo, including if they're a longtime customer, they might even be able to offer you lifetime service for a discounted price as well. And personally, I'm saying wait until after January when we get a chance to check out what's coming up at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. TiVo hasn't announced a new product yet, and they haven't had a new product in a while, and they really need to get on the ball in terms of true two-way and the switch video technologies. Right. Those, I imagine, will be in their new products, but like I said, we haven't seen those yet. We're waiting for more information.
We'll know more after CES.
Yes. All right, we got a question in from Casey out in Austin, Texas, and he writes, I plan on purchasing my first HD TV set after this Christmas, but I have crossed out all plasma TV models in fear of the dreaded burn-in phenomena. Recently, an article on HDGuru.com points out that for modern plasma TVs, it's nearly an impossible task when trying to induce burn-in. I'd like to know what Robert's opinion is on this matter so that I may purchase, or my purchase decision is that much more informed. I appreciate the confidence. Thank you, Casey.
In Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
So plasma burn-in, is it dead?
I would say so at this point. I do see plasma burn-in, if you don't know, is just the uneven wearing of the phosphor material that makes the light you see on the screen surface.
In the worst case scenario, say if we had an old school plasma and we left the HD Nation logo up here static for like 6 months, when we finally changed the channel after 6 months, you'd still see a ghost of HD Nation in there.
Totally. That's it. What it is. And it's because we've basically worn the pixels unevenly. The black portions of the screen aren't being worn very much. The pure whites are being driven at 100%. If you leave that static for a long period of time, it used to be an issue. Right. And I don't believe it is not as much of an issue as it used to be. I'm not going to say it's 100% gone, because there are other artifacts that appear to be similar. Now, with modern plasma displays, I recommend that you take your time when you first buy them and not drive them at, storeroom mode, the vivid mode. That's not, you really want to take your time.
There's a break-in period.
Break it in a little bit, and always keep the video stretched full screen for that, say the first 50, 100 hours of use, just to make sure everything's fine. Now, occasionally, if you have a very contrasted picture, say you put up, for whatever reason, a video game screen or something that's static, you left it on there for a little while, and then you switched inputs, or you switched channels, or whatever, you might see an after image. It's not burn-in, but you will see a residual image of the picture that was previously on there. And that usually goes away, though, as soon as you change the channel a couple of times, or if you just allow the TV to, cycle the power on and off once. So I haven't seen burn-in in a long time. It was an issue 10 years ago when plasmas were pretty new and expensive, but no, don't worry about it nowadays.
You are safe to add them back to your list. The holidays are here, and if you need some help in what to get, you should check out Tekzilla's Holiday Shopping Extravaganza. Veronica Belmont and I and the whole Tekzilla crew are on camera with all the tech and gadgets to make your holidays connected and cutting edge, or at least the ones we like. So check out last Thursday's episode of Tekzilla at tekzilla.com/holiday2009.
Hey, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode of HD Nation. As always, we do want to know what you think, so send your comments, questions, or suggestions to hdnation@revision3.com.
Or hang out with the other viewers in the HD Nation forums at revision3.com/forum.
And head over to hdnation.tv for show notes and links to everything we talked about on today's episode. And you'll also find all the links to subscribe to the show. So if you're not getting the latest episode of HD Nation delivered to you, what are you waiting for?
That's right. Subscribe and watch. Do us a favor. Tell your friends. Until next time.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm Robert Heron.
And I'm Patrick Norton. We'll see you next week on HD Nation.